For now, I think we'll move on. I'm very, very excited to introduce Sean Hobson, and Sean is the Chief Design Officer in Arizona State University, and also Ed Plus. He leads strategic design initiatives to solve complex challenges in higher education. Sean's strong background in communications and instructional design fosters his ability to work well with technology and complex systems to achieve favorable outcomes. Sean also serves as an expert in resident for ASU's University Design Institute, which focuses on assisting universities around the world to evolve through design and culture change. Sean, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Trevor, and thank you to Manuth and all the participants for joining in a conversation that I'm just thrilled and excited to be a part of. My design journey has started at ASU about 15 years ago, where I began as an instructional designer, and I thought the best way to kick off my quick little talk here is to share a video, a risky proposition on Zoom or Teams, no doubt, but we'll give it a shot here and see how it goes. Just a little context. This is a video that was created by my institution, Arizona State University. I'm calling to you from Phoenix, Arizona this morning. That really talked about the role of the institution. And it's a video that changed my life. It helped me see and understand the role of design and how many of the tools that I had built as an instructional designer could be applied to the broader discipline of design. So it's a 4-minute video or so. I'll play it and then come back and we'll have a bit of a discussion. So let me do this. Trevor, can you just give me, you can see the screen real quick? Just want to confirm.
I can see the logo.
Yeah, well, let's watch a little video first here. Oh, hold on. Okay. So, so if you're anything like me, that video served as an inspiration. It certainly helped me understand that design can be a powerful tool, and I thought I'd start this discussion by setting a bit of context of what we mean by design, because that word can be a challenging word to define. In fact, there is no single definition in the literature around that word. But I work at an interesting university that's led by this man, President Michael Crow. He authored the book called Designing the New American University. He's a policy scholar. He came to ASU as our president from his previous position as vice provost for research at the University of Columbia. He had a very strong vision for what a public research university in the U.S. could do, and the role that and the purpose that it needed to play. And it was a new design from where the university was when he came. Fundamentally, we're guided by a charter. This charter is literally etched in stone at the entrance to our campus. But there's some big components in here, and one that I just want to highlight is that we believe and we want to be measured by who we include, not by who we exclude and how they succeed. And so with that, the university believes that it can scale and be quality at the same time. And so through this experiment over 2 decades, ASU has established a set of design aspirations. Many of them were highlighted in this video, but these are our core design aspirations that guide everything that we do as an institution. I'll just leave this up for a minute. The work that my unit, Ed Plus at ASU, focuses on is really around a set of these, but enabling student success and being accessible are 2 of the biggest ones. Just to level set on what we mean by the word design and designer, it's not simply, but it's not limited to how something looks or feels. A logo design, for example, or interior design, those are all types of design. But a designer is anybody who devises a course of action aimed at changing an existing situation into a preferred one. So think about the evolution of an institution, of a university, as an opportunity for design. It's the act of seeing something you want to be better, but importantly, taking the responsible steps to make it better. Responsible being the key word there. There's plenty of poor design out there that isn't responsible in nature. A product to be designed is not an artifact or a customer service, but the organization itself. And so this, for me, was tremendously exciting to think about how you could design an organization for which its outcomes could be affected. I'm going to highlight just one design challenge of many that we're focused on. And I appreciated the opening lecture that really isolated the 6 design challenges that Maynooth is focused on. Here's one that we're focused on at ASU and in the US. It's simply that we're not graduating enough students. 1 out of 2 people who start don't complete. Your success is largely based on your family income, and we need to change that system in order to solve global challenges and remain competitive in the global landscape. The demand for higher education, not just in the US, but globally, is continuing to grow. OECD data reports that by 2030, more than 400 million people will need access to high quality education. if we were to do that within the existing designs or constructs, we would have to build 4 universities that each serve 80,000 students. We'd have to do that every week, every year, for the next 15 years. Suffice to say, the designs that got us to where we are insufficient for where we are today, especially in a hopefully getting to a post-pandemic world. But traditional institutional designs are kind of what you see on the left here. It's a very linear construct. You come in a certain way, you leave the institution a certain way, and everybody goes through it the same way. That design is insufficient for what we need in terms of creating new models, educating new communities, solving some of these global challenges. And so the future model, the model that we're working towards, looks a little more like the Lego blocks on the right, a porous institution that anybody can connect with no matter where they are in their journey, because access to quality education is a human right. And so the way that we think about this is by creating design change rather than organic change. So change is omnipresent. It's happening all around us all the time. Organic change will be, small and incremental in nature and look much more like, the model on the left. Design change is really around, what are the transformations that need to happen in order to make significant change at the core of the institution. And so a question that I'm working on as part of my research is who and what are the types of organizational structures at universities that are focused on these types of change efforts. Not the individual projects or the individual people, but the organizational designs that lead this change. I happen to work for one of those, but when we think about, and I'll get to that in a second, but when we think about creating transformational change over incremental change, it's really where the change process is so substantial that it alters the operating system, the underlying values, and the culture of the entire organization or system. And these are the types of big transformational changes that are necessary to help institutions evolve, to keep pace, quite frankly, with the changing environment around us. So I work for one of these change agents within the broader university construct of Arizona State University. Ed Plus really serves 2 functions for the university. One, it's a R&D function, so it works on new projects, new partnerships, new questions, new business models that is really intended to help break the university forward. And I say that in a very positive way. The second is a service unit. So we support our academic colleagues. We help them magnify their voice and their knowledge creation and their research to help serve more learners. We're not alone in this pursuit. The MyLab is an example of a change agent at Maynooth. There's many of these labs popping up across higher education, certainly in the US. There's an evolution of these labs happening at every campus around the world, for that matter, especially in the face of COVID. But there's very little in the form of formal literature on who these institutions are and how they need to be designed and the nature of the work that they're doing. A little bit of just a few minutes on Ed Plus and its role. We primarily, as I said at the outset, focus on digital teaching and learning. We do that through partnerships primarily, but we also do that by working from the inside out. So working with our academic colleagues to help them with the transition and with the culture change necessary to move from how things have always been done to what is the possible. A lot of that manifests itself in the form of digital teaching and learning. And what this graph shows you is the growth that we've had in our enrollments around the Access mission over the last decade or so. And the net result is that we've nearly doubled our entire student body population that we serve through digital teaching and learning mechanisms. And the net result is a changed culture across the institution that sees online as simply a different modality of no lesser in quality, but a different way to serve learners. And that's a big transformation for an institution. These are some of the innovation projects that we also work on to help bring the university forward. You can check some of these out on our website, or happy to discuss at the chat session. But our process is really driven by our culture. So these are our cultural tenets that you might not see at a more traditional academic unit within a university. Might feel a little bit more like a startup, but all driven by that mission and culture. These are the things that we aspire to be as a transformational change unit within the university. We're driven by partnerships. We believe that our ability to accelerate impact is increased through partnerships. We have big design challenges that align with many of the challenges of our partner network. So we're always looking for ways to extend our impact through relationships. And so every university, as I said, is going through a set of design challenges. Here's a few of them that might come to mind depending on where you are and what institution you work for. I'm going to isolate just a few of these, and then in closing show another little video that can hopefully provide a bit more inspiration. But really, we're faced with a question around who are our learners? What are the skills that they might need, and what tools do we have to answer these questions? When you approach these as design challenges, it's a different framing. And so I'll show one last video and then end with a quote, and then look forward to getting back to the discussion.
Mutually assured destruction. Today, any nuclear country or terrorist is capable of inflicting damage on a massive scale with weapons of
environmental entropy. The polar ice caps aren't waiting for us to decide if climate change is real. Rising coastal waters, intensifying weather patterns, they're all punching our one-way ticket to dystopia.
By definition, not perfect. Huxley's Brave New World, Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, Orwell's 1984. Once considered fiction, these futuristic novels are actually happening right now, and they seem to be getting worse. Yes, Miss Newton.
Can we fix it?
Sorry?
I get things are bad, but what are we doing to fix it?
Have a good weekend, everybody.
So I'll leave us with one quote by Clay Shirky here, which is, the biggest threat to those of us working in colleges and universities is not video lectures or online tests, rather, it is the fact that we live in institutions that were perfectly adapted to an environment that no longer exists. So that hopefully is a a lasting quote for some inspiration around design and change and the work that's being led by my lab and others. Thanks for your time. Let's see if I can do this.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sean. We're going to save questions for after our 3 talks today, but because I'm hosting, I'd like to throw out one. I've read your president's book a few times, and I've often heard him speaking about kind of academic staff or staff of university being intellectual designers. They need to consider themselves as designers. Does that work? Is this top down, or is it working bottom up?
Yeah, so thanks for that question. It was so I work at a huge institution. We have 10,000 staff. There's probably, I don't know, a couple hundred, maybe 100 of us that have a title of, director or higher. I remember very acutely about 3 years ago, we have a staff meeting where we're all brought together and we have discussions about the upcoming term. And he did look at us and said, while you all may have the title of manager in your title, you should be thinking of yourselves as designers. I thought that was a very symbolic statement, whereas, he, I think, through his vision and through the culture of the institution, empowers people to solve problems over manage a very specific project or team that they might be focused on. And so, yes, there is some rhetoric in that, but I think over time, that charter or mission statement I brought up isn't lip service. It's a thing that everybody is empowered to work towards. And I think the other core cultural tenet at our institution is that we are here in service of our students. No matter what role you're in, you are here to serve students. And so that may seem like an obvious cultural tenet, but I think for many institutions it's backwards, and they may think, I'm a researcher, I'm a this, I'm a that, and so students need to adapt to me. That's not how ASU operates. So in that respect, I think everybody is empowered around design.
Fantastic. And just to finish, am I right in saying that you might be one of the only, or maybe the only chief design officers of a university? Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't say that for certain, but I think I'm certainly the first one at ASU, and I don't know of others. I think it's still an evolving job outside of universities, let alone in them. But I hope I'm not for long. I think it's an important role. I think design's an important process and problem-solving approach. But yeah, I'm the only one in higher ed that I know of.
Well, I am going to correlate that with ASU being the United States most innovative university for 6 years in a row. I'll make that correlation between design and that sort of success. Sean, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.